Hello, everyone, and I want to welcome you to another episode of the Better the Pond Pondcast, where we talk to amazing people doing incredible things that lead the charge of generosity. My name is Warren Berry, and I'm your host and the founder of Instinctive Solutions, where we believe that everyone is not a duck, but that is what makes them awesome. Today, our guest is Candyce Fiessel. Full of adventure, curiosity, and drive, Candyce has lived her life as it is a gift. She started working at the age of 13 and has not stopped since. Now running 3 organizations, Candyce plants the seeds and everyone she meets then gets to watch them grow. Going through trauma and having a brain injury was only fuel for her to do well for others. Candyce exemplifies what we can all do to better the pond. It is my great pleasure to welcome Candyce Fiessel. So, Candyce, I want to thank you ever so much for taking the time out of your hectic and busy life, right, to be a guest on my Better the Pond podcast. It is absolutely fabulous to have you.
So good being here. Nice to see you.
Yes, it's been a while actually. So we go back, what, probably a few years now, I think, back to the Tech Canada world when I first met you.
You bet. Got my assessment done. I know who I am deeper because of you.
Fantastic. So let's jump right into this, Candyce, with both feet. So I want to know, Candyce, what got you from being a gosling to leaving the nest to where you are today? Candyce, what is your backstory? What has made you the person that you are today?
I would say getting started, just kind of having that support from my family. I had this desire to make people feel beautiful and went into the beauty industry right out of high school. My uncle was in the industry, and it just made me feel amazing to connect with people one on one, make them feel good on the outside and good on the inside by conversation. And through that, I just kept following these desires,
Well,
personal, professional development. And sorry.
I'm going to take you back. The question was, what got you from being a gosling? Where did you start out from?
Well, my family, I have a rock solid, incredible family. My mom and dad are a beautiful couple. I have an older brother, a younger sister, and they are my rocks in many ways still to this day. But back then, they caused a little trouble in my life too. Uh, Bonded through family at the lake. Both my grandparents have cabins, so for us, childhood was a lot about connection through play and being outdoors and the adventure, which was incredible. Just being around cousins, extended family. That was a huge part of, I think, friendships, bringing my friends out to see, what my family was all about. And
Did you start off, like, were you born and raised in Regina here?
yes,
And where was the cabin?
Pasco Lake and Long Lake. So
So,
got one at both cabins from both grandparents. Very
so-
blessed.
yes, absolutely. So to all the listeners out there, because I have listeners that go worldwide. So we'll kind of paint a little bit of a picture. So Regina, Saskatchewan, in the middle of Canada, in the middle of nowhere. Um, where it's absolutely flat, but we have some incredible lakes in the area. So is that at Long Lake and whatnot? Is that where you spent a lot of your time growing up?
Yes, every summer. That is just what life was. Is just family, being with the cousins, and adopting the neighborhood kids to come out for the summer, and just built really truly great friendships because of it.
So tell me about being at the lake in the summer. Paint me a picture what that was like.
It was simple life. Whoever's up first had the coffee on, and we had pancake breakfast with dad singing in the kitchen, and cousins are out there, so you just have this confidence and comfort and belonging, adventure. You're learning from each other. You're curious of how far you can go with the paddle boat, or what waves feel like, versus putting the diving in with the diaper life jacket. And you just kind of build these joyful moments where you're enjoying play.
So I want to know. So now here we are. So you're out on the lake, either in the paddle boat, you're out on the dock, right? And who was it that actually led the way? And I have a sneaking suspicion that it might have been you that said, "Hey, how far can we push this thing? Hey, how far can we go?"
It was a collaborative effort, but most times I guess I would be an initiator of the adventure, whether we be diving off or like going on the tube ride, who could stay on the longest. And I had older cousins too, so they pushed the challenge always, whether it be who can eat the most cake, or there's always something. There was always like someone pushing you to challenge you to do something fun. So climbing trees and helping grandpa do the shingles. So it wasn't just like, we had responsibilities too, upkeeping the garden and bonding with grandma through line dancing. And yeah, fishing. Grandpa fished. I'm talking about two sets of grandparents, so just lots of joyful moments between both cabins and cousins.
Just just think about this for a second. When you're going to see how far you can go in the paddle boat, you're going to see who can eat the most cake. But even climbing trees, right? Like, let's look back at that and say, how high can I climb, right? And you'd be out there, waving in the wind, right? And just to see how far you could take it, right? Now, your kids, you said earlier, we were talking, your kids are 5 and 6, right? So imagine you're having your kids go climb that tree to see how high would they would go, right? And how much would you freak out?
I've witnessed it, and I enjoy letting them challenge themselves, and I'm definitely there to support them when they've had their threshold met. But I enjoy seeing them push themselves too, to get past those fear and allowing them to experience it. It's it's fun to sit back and watch instead of interfere.
Oh, absolutely. I just
Yeah.
looking how time has changed. I mean,
Oh,
being a kid and we were doing all the stuff that we would do. We were unsupervised. We were just, off. And how parenting whatnot has changed over the years. It's like, oh my God, like, we can't let them climb the tree. And I was, well, why not? Right. I mean, we did it. And it was just, what are their thresholds and how far can we support them and let them grow and all those kind of things. So good on you for actually letting your kids go and experience life and adventure.
yeah. It's about the conversation during, I think. Keeping that, motivation up, or just what happens throughout that time. It does impact, me as a child, and how I carry forward that as a parent. It's interesting to learn who you are as a parent. I definitely feel I've evolved and changed significantly in the last 6 years,
Mhm.
looking through life through their eyes.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I agree. It is, and it's so fascinating to sit back and watch them. And you gotta let them fall, and you gotta let them get some bumps and bruises, and you know, brush them off and pick them up and let them go again. And but it is amazing to sit back and witness. Absolutely. So you kind of grew up at the lake. You went to elementary school here in Regina.
Yeah, McNeil Elementary. Grew up in the North End,
Oh, you're
Lakewood area. Yeah.
NOD.
Yes.
I didn't know you're a North Ender.
Yes. Before Lakewood even existed, that's where we'd run our dog. It's like that open field. So
Wow. So like McNeil is actually like pretty much just right behind my business. It's
okay.
just down the street. So I'm not far from where you grew up.
Yeah, it's so good. Regina's, that's the beauty of it. It kind of, we're all connected some way in the city.
Yeah, absolutely. So you grew up in the north end of Regina. You went to elementary school at McNeil, right? You spent your summers out of the lake. Did you actually spend winters out of the lake too? Were you doing the whole skidoo thing and all that kind of stuff?
Just for a couple of years. I remember, doing the fishing and the skidooing, but not too much past like early elementary. Once we got a little older, it was like we weren't out there as often in the winter. My grandparents went down south. One set of grandparents went down south for 6 months a year, and the other grandparents had a home in the city. So they had some, winters and summers. But grandpa's a taxidermist, so we learned a ton about his hunting and fishing and what he would create in the winters, and the sports that way for him. So it's really interesting to grow up around an active family that, has passions and hobbies and include you in it, experiencing it.
So now, as a kid, I have to ask. So your grandpa being a taxidermist, right? And
Mhm.
he's got all these animals and
Yeah.
animal heads and fish and all those things around it. Did that freak you out when you were younger, or were you more curious and want to know how that all worked?
I really valued his information and education on it. He was very passionate about, how we use every aspect of the animal, and there's no waste, and that there's like that respect, that ritual. He would even come and bring his whole collection to the school throughout the winter. I remember having all of his the birds, and just when he spoke about everything, how he was just so full of knowledge from this passion. So
Yeah,
it didn't freak me out at all. For me, I admired it, and I think having a passion like that's really important after you see someone that cares so much about something.
right, absolutely.
Yeah.
So you would now, so there you're your elementary school years, you got your friends, you're hanging out, you're doing your summers at the lake, right? Now, where'd you go to high school?
I went to Knoll, so just right. It was like year two that it had opened. My brother was in his last year at Riffle, so it's a big decision not to go to the school he went to and go to the new school where most of my friends were going. And yeah, it was high school was good. I started working right in high school, so for me, I got that SIN card, and I just like I fell in love with working. I fell in love with being around older people, mature people who would teach me skills, and I valued learning and having responsibility. And that really ignited a new side of me from cheerleading and sports and playing the organ and those types of skills into responsibility type skills, not just the performance of. I was in jump rope since I don't know grade 5, I think, and it was very competitive, and we traveled, and so I really transitioned once I got into high school into more of that responsibility level versus the active physical.
So what was your first job and how old were you?
Well, I guess technically it would have been delivering newspapers and collecting, knocking on doors. Technically that would be the first one, but
And
I
how
worked.
old how old were you then?
I don't know, 13 maybe,
I
12
was
or 13.
I was 11 delivering
Yeah.
papers. Yeah, and I remember we used to get paid. I'm going to age myself here, right? This is going to be horrible, but I'm going to age myself. And I remember getting basically a cent or a cent and a half per flyer that we got delivered. And when the phone book came out, we got delivered the phone book. We got 5 cents a piece, and it was like we considered that hitting the lottery, actually.
Yeah, I can't even remember what the compensation was. For me, like I loved being able to see my neighbors' houses and just talk to them and get to know them and learn about them. I just again that's that connection to people that I enjoyed from a young age, and learning who people are. But Shoppers Drug Mart, I that was my first real job where I had to get, the car ride from the parents to this Rosemont Shoppers Drug Mart, and I got to know regulars. I would learn like what they smoked and what gamble, whatever their ticket is, lottery ticket was, and I love that customer experience where you name someone by their name. Hey, Warren, great to see you back again. Do we need another? It just was really fun to connect with people outside of a classroom or a sporting event and just make someone's day.
So you had been what 15 then because you weren't
Yeah.
driving yet.
Yeah, I was 15 when I started there.
Okay, and so you worked at the front end. You're a cashier.
Cashier kind of evolved into like the beauty um, area too. I got some more responsibility over time, and so at some points I would work 3 to 4 evenings, 4 to midnight, and Sundays 12 to 8:30.
Mm.
So I definitely thrived off. Uh, I remember my parents sitting me at the table one day and saying, Candice, like, you don't have to work this much. Like we want to make sure you still have fun in your high school years. And it's just like, but I am having fun and I have 80s. Like I'm on the honor roll. Like I'm, making sure that I'm keeping my grades up so I can have this responsibility. And it just was a part of me, what I love doing.
Wow, that's so interesting to hear that part of your story because you're still doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Like you're still, you got 3 businesses going. We'll get to that. But it's just fascinating to see that what you were doing back when you were 15 is really the same thing that you're doing now.
Yeah, I think it's part of my nature, and it's I didn't know it till I experienced it and had that fire lit, and then I just kept wanting that same experience, right? Oh, I like this, so I'm going to keep leaning in for more of it, and how far can I take it, or what idea will this take me to? What if I ask for this responsibility? So I just kind of kept leaning in, saying, I want to keep more, keep trying.
Leaning in. I'm writing that down. I think that is a great quote right there. So,
That's Brene Brown.
so
Learned from many out there.
yeah, we'll call this one yours.
Yeah.
So Shoppers Drug Mart.
Yeah.
Where take me, keep me going. Let me bring me
Like
from there right up to what's going on today.
Shoppers, Brandon's convenience store. I think I did Lamborghini subs and tumblers and like a whole bunch of jobs where I had multiple going at a time, and then I was answering phones for my uncle's salon and going to hair school while still maintaining those 2 different jobs because one was evenings, weekends, one was and I still could go to hair school. So I loved it. I loved the responsibility. I loved the people I met. I loved the mentorship from the leadership team in the salon. They really nurtured me into gaining the confidence it took to have people trust you as their professional. I love sales, retail. I was very competitive to win trips for education by selling retail and educating my guests on what they need it. So I took that very seriously. I loved performance based. If I performed, I received
Right.
this. And I like to know how I could gain that. So that was kind of the continuous. And a year and a half in, I got the itch for education, went to university for a couple semesters, and I just felt like nothing could move fast enough. That was my personality. I don't want to sit there reading poetry to get to be a teacher in 4 years. Like I wanted to make it happen right now.
Mhm.
Again, personality. And so Dale Carnegie was a 10-week program, and it was going to teach me personal, professional development. Grandpa took it. My dad took it. So after that program, 6 weeks later, I did open my salon. And I think that was that pace that I really enjoy. It was like, okay, I now have gained knowledge where I can go into a bank and show them my spreadsheet that I've created and show them that I know I can and get that support. And even though I was 21, so I had to get a co-signer from my parents because I had already bought my first home and things like that. So I learned about cash flow and managing money early, leveraging through renting my basement. I loved all the knowledge about managing money and how you could set goals to achieve the next level of your growth.
So you had your own house when you were 21?
Yeah, right after hair school, I used my line of credit that I'd been paying down from working in the salon, and gratuities are very and a great additional revenue for service providers. So I used all of that for my basic spending. And Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad, my dad put that in my lap, and I tell you, I went to the bank and said I'm ready for a half duplex where I rented the basement out and built that first asset at a young age where I didn't have to pay the mortgage myself, where I had tenants in the basement helping me out there. And that kind of gave me, after writing that first big check, 25% down on a mortgage, which is very different then than it is now.
Mm-hmm.
That gave me confidence to go to the bank again and ask for a business loan and not be intimidated to use the bank's money, to know how using that leverage helped me have a smaller payment to grow the asset instead of having to save and wait for it. And I think so many people see these visions of like being there and they'll get there someday versus saying, how can I have it right now?
Right.
And so I learned that momentum really quickly. I think 19 or 20, I had the house, and 21, I had the school. And 8 months into the school was my trauma. And that's where my world got uprooted, and domestic violence played a part, addiction and mental health played a part in the abuse that I experienced. And my whole world changed. And I think had I not built those habits and the healthy rituals and the foundation of believing in myself,
Mm-hmm.
uh, it would have been a different healing story. I had built a lot from a young age, and I needed that foundation to push through that healing journey, because it was such a fast, buying the house, getting my salon, having the trauma, and then having to relook at life and say, who am I now as a leader now? I just started a 5-person team, started with 2 and then 3 and up to 5. And so education became a massive commitment. Learning to work smarter, not harder, going with consultants and coaches and mentors, counselors, people that taught me things about myself so I could rebuild, who I was now after, because there is a before and after trauma. Your life is
Absolutely.
different.
Yeah, absolutely. So how long was that period of time, Candice, where you went, through that trauma where your life really got turned upside down?
8 months after opening my salon.
Wow.
Just getting started. I was, I just turned 22, and just been nominated for a Chamber of Commerce Young Entrepreneur of the Year award. It was the weekend of, I always remember the Good Friday every year when the Chamber of Commerce awards come up. It's like a historic cycle plays in my head, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's all those memories that trigger what you've come through. And yeah, I had an incredible team. I had an incredible family. And they helped me push through it in a way where I was not going to be defined by this experience. It was very public. It was on the front page of the paper, not using my name, but certain, salon owner and things that were recognizable and people understood what I experienced. So I was forced to face it publicly right away,
Mm-hmm.
and learned about giving back to people, because I didn't know Saskatchewan had the highest rates of domestic violence. I didn't know that was a thing until I was a part of that statistic.
Mm-hmm.
So I was introduced to Sophia House and started raising funds for the programs that they offer to people that need support leaving unhealthy, unsafe situations. Because I had a strong family and foundation, and this was a first time experience for me. There was no pre-experiences. It was a one and only severe experience. And I understand the cycle of violence. There's a lot of things where it didn't happen the first time as serious as mine, where you're staying in this pain,
Mm-hmm.
staying in this cycle. And I think that a ton of support needs to be helped to isolate and remove yourself from those situations, especially when, drugs and mental health are involved, because you feel as a connected partner, you feel responsibility to help.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore you
Absolutely.
sacrifice your own self and your own needs
Right.
because they need you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to leave that. So I believe in the support that programs offer. And that's where my fundraising connection started. And I carried that experience through to many of the things I've done after that.
And we're going to get to that because we're going to talk about what you're doing to better the pond, which is the whole base, a big part of the basis of this whole podcast. So, so tell me now, like, so going back to this, I have 2 questions for you. One, what is it that got you into the beauty world? What was it that really sparked you to say, this is what I want to do?
It was high school and elementary school dances. I would have friends over, and I would sit there in my whatever I had on that day, and I'd be flying around my closet and, getting the curling irons going, getting everyone dressed up, feeling beautiful. And then I would fly out the door with whatever I had on and my hair thrown up, because I loved dressing people up. I loved how I made them walk and look at themselves different. And just that inner spark that you light in somebody by making them feel beautiful. Here, you get to see their inner light more.
Hmm.
And so that's what started it. It was actually changing how people feel about themselves from school dances.
And that was back into your elementary school days. So
Yeah.
this is going back. It's
Yeah.
fascinating. So now from there, it's my next question to you is, so bring me up to speed to where you are now. What are you doing now in your world? Because now, we've heard about you being a gosling, right? You left the nest, right? You're going on your own, right? You experienced some trauma, which obviously shifted you as a person, right? But you grew from it. And so where are you now?
I just resigned as a hairstylist after 18 years in February. So right before a pandemic, hadn't planned that, but I decided to do our 15-year anniversary in February, even though our anniversary is in August. Had an intuition that we should do it early for some reason, and I'm glad I listened to it, because we threw the best party. I was able to share my gratitude to my clients for 18 years of what they gave to me, which I received so much knowledge, connection, friendships. It was a beautiful 18-year career. And my team is incredible, so they continue to operate Sharescape Salon. We've brought on 2 shareholders, so their day-to-day management leadership teams are incredible. Went from 5 people in 2005 to about 18 of us now. So small 1,280 square foot salon, but we are very strategic in scheduling, 9 to 9, 6 days a week. And we open Sundays now too. So we're open 7 days, and I just love that team. They're my rock. They're my foundation. We're very connected. I still do personal development meetings with them and our leadership team growth. And 7 years ago now, I guess, would be when we purchased, my uncle and I purchased the Richard's Beauty College. And that was the school I had gone to, and that sparked because of the education I went into for salon industries being performance based. I wanted something more competitive and career focused for our industry, so people knew how they could earn a good living and do what they love, and it had more strategy, more structure than just skill and talent.
Mm.
So that really evolved in 7 years to the Style Academy now, in 5 years, and our new location, new branding. And just this year, during the pandemic, actually, my uncles moved forward into a new venture. So I'm the sole owner of the Style Academy now. So that was also a big undertaking for this year. And lots of new vision to incorporate professional development into our education, and branch outside of just the beauty industry, and actually really focus on how we can build the skills to have a successful career doing what we love. So for the creative entrepreneurs out there, the people that want that fast track,
Yeah.
like back when I was 21, right? I was like, where's this fast track? Not everyone is comfortable, reading the book and doing the exam and taking that space and time to, I really much value those personalities, but personality types, right?
Yeah.
There's something for all of us. And my way of learning is doing.
Yep.
I just want to jump in, and, being unapologetic that that's how I am has helped me grow into nonprofit organizations that ran for 7 years, brought our whole province together, like Saskatchewan Fashion Week, and working with committees. Like, you can't go to school for that specifically. It's really about desires in the heart and following that excitement, and believing that this is true for you to do and create, and starting from scratch.
Absolutely. I think there's a couple of things here that are I think there's just really nuggets of wisdom within this, Candice. First of all, of helping people find their inner spark and what makes it, what their passion lies. Because I mean, the passion, you can't teach passion. It's there or it's not. And the other piece of it too is that taking somebody who's wants to be a stylist, right, or work with aesthetics in that field, but then also helping them understand about business and how does it work. And instead of just teaching them a skill of how to make somebody look good, it's all that backs, the pieces of how does a business operate and what can you do in marketing and branding and those things that really don't get taught. I have my back history in massage therapy way back when, but we never learned anything about business. There was, you kind of got thrown to the wolves and said, here you go to work, right? So I think that's
Dentist, any type
yep.
of skill learn that when you learn a skill, there's this gap of, okay, or, I've had friends that are in the tech industry. It's like, okay, well, I had this great tech idea, but now I'm managing a team of 20 people. I don't know how to lead and manage staff. I
Mhm.
thought I was just going to, do this. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is, I mean, good on you for having that wisdom and that knowledge to be able to help those people because I think it's actually crucial for them to be successful in whatever the passion is driving them. So I applaud you for that.
Thank you.
So now you also have your My Life Planner, which is your latest baby. I believe you did work with Heather Murphy on that project. I believe, is that correct?
Yes, we birthed it through the Style Academy, developing professional development. I've got a beautiful soul named Sydney that, really believed in the vision becoming more than just for our students and bringing it to the world. And that's when I met Heather and we kind of made the tool we had started, the foundation we started, and brought it into a tangible gift that people could have. And this is our brand new collection that just arrived this week. And it says, my life is a gift.
Right.
So, it's truly this product of life experience where when I started doing keynotes and starting sharing my journey through life and entrepreneurship and becoming a mother and disruptions,
Mm-hmm.
I realized that it wasn't just about the lessons I learned, is how can you put that into a space of here's a tool that you can have with your story, and how are you going to evolve your story. So it's like a gift to someone else that honors where they're at in their journey. So if they're healing, they may be journaling. If they're ready to start that move forward momentum, they will do the foundations of the planner and really start to create vision and clarity and reflection and forgiveness and gratitude and set priorities to help them move forward daily. So it's like these healthy rituals that have supported me through years and years of education that I went out and got, and just gifting it to others in a way that's in one keepsake treasured book.
So at the end of this, we are going to tell everyone where to find that. So that'll come out of this for sure. Um, it's so interesting, Candice, to listen to you. I mean, you're such an inspiration. I mean, using your life experience and really wanting to get to know people and really wanting to like authentically help run from the heart. It's not from the head, and that really comes out. And so that is fantastic to hear that you're doing all these things to be able to, to make the world a better place. And as I would say, this is how you better the pond. So thank you for who you are. So, all right. So I believe that we're all odd ducks. I believe that we're all misfits. So Candice, tell me about a time when you didn't fit in, and where you were different. That could be positive or negative, right? But what have you done differently to stand out? So give me that part of your story. What makes you the odd duck?
You know what? Probably the honest thing is that I feel awkward when I do fit in. I'm actually more comfortable on the outside, and I've got a few friends where we call each other unicorns. And I'm usually the initiator. I gather, but I still kind of stand on the outside of the gathering. So I love building events that are memorable experiences, but I love seeing them connecting and coming together. But being that connector is more of the passion than being the person that has the swarm of all the friends, or the person that's fitting in perfectly. I'm completely comfortable standing on the outside, which took time. I did not feel that way in elementary school or high school. I craved belonging and fitting in. And I think that uh, through becoming a leader, I realized how unique and special people are one-on-one,
Mhm.
between being a stylist one-on-one or working with my team and mentoring them to own their power. Helping others own their power helped me own my power. And it kind of makes you feel like that comfort with being the odd one out.
So, so let me get this straight. So, you like to bring things together. You like to coordinate things and kind of make something happen, right? You're the spark. You initiate it. You get it going. You get the ball rolling. And then once the ball's rolling, you just kind of sit to the outside and let everybody else enjoy the ride. Is that what I'm hearing?
I participate greatly. I do. And I have treasured friendships because of it. But I would say that I've still always felt on the outside. And I think it's a common thing that not enough people express.
Hmm.
Uh, and it's okay to feel like you don't fit in.
I see. My belief is right, and that's the whole part of this podcast too, as well. Is that's what makes you awesome, right? Is that what being the odd duck is what makes you awesome, and that's what makes you so unique, and that's your gift to the world. And I think it's great to be on the outside. I think it's great to be a misfit, and it's great to be an odd duck because that's where your uniqueness gets to come out to play.
Yes. Yes. And like I need dance, I need play, I need uh music. So for me, if you are close to me, you're getting videos of me dancing. Like I just this is my way to express myself and recharge and connect to the wild side of me. I have this very serious side to me that I have commitments and I have to get things done and I have a high follow through as per your assessment. But I also have this real desire to be grounded and play and just be wild, unleashed with no rules. So this paradox world that I have, I love. And I think that the variety is needed in our personal worlds
Mhm.
and our professional worlds. We need to play at work too. We can't just always talk about the performance. So that's why Leadership, our new program that we're launching at the Style Academy, it's all about helping humanize those cultures and creating a customized playground for connected teams. This is, I believe, the new way of leadership, especially after COVID, the mental health, the disconnection of virtual worlds. That that is the foundation. It's connecting about who you are first, building that strong foundation as an individual, and then coming together as a team, honoring your uniqueness and having those conversations about what you can bring and why you're bringing it and the variety.
Yeah, and I mean that's a lot of the work that I do as well, and that's the whole part of it, right? Is that uniqueness and what is it that you bring to the table? What do you bring to the team, and then how do you collaborate and make it something? Make the as the whole is greater than some of the parts, right?
It's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, thank you for being such an odd duck. I think, and it's interesting as you're talking because you think about it for a second, right? Listening to your story of you being in the paddle boat, seeing how far you could go is no different than what you're trying to achieve now, right? Is how far can we take this? How can we provide leaders? How can we, right? The play, the adventure, the pushing the limits. There are no rules, right? I'm going to pave my own way, and so it's kind of interesting to see that has followed you through in your life.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's shift here a little bit, Candace. So can you tell me about a time when someone did something for you that left an impact on your life?
You know, I'll twist it a little bit because I believe for my parents, it's what they didn't do for me. That really actually did a lot for me.
I want to hear this.
So my parents were very much, you know, money was energy exchange. You had to have a purpose for it. So it was not like we could just ask and receive. We had to really earn, and they taught us how to earn. So they gave the skills and planted the seed and allowed us to learn and grow. So our first vehicle, we all got, the same X amount. And then if we chose, we could earn money and upgrade later on. And I believe the books that were planted in my hands, Seven Habits, the Robert Kiyosaki, the Dale Carnegie, all these things, they kept planting seeds, but they never just gave us, you know, what they wanted us to experience and earn.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was actually one of the greatest gifts that shaped me into how I think about my world today. And especially now being a parent, thinking of how I want my kids to feel, because there is this a lot of pressure to keep up with, what their friends are receiving and things like that. But I understand that great gift that my parents gave me and their parents gave them, and humbling it is to have to earn something, the experience you receive by earning. So I think that's a great gift that my parents gave me since I was young.
Would you say that was it more your mom or your dad, or was it a combination of both?
Combination of both. Dad had was very strict. Mom was our the lover, right? The
Yep.
nurturer. She, you know, taught us how to take care of the home, and home cooking was just how it always was, and our home was our safe space, right? Our home
Mhm.
was our place to have those real honest conversations, the family table talks, right? Where when things went wrong was a family meeting at the table, and we talked about it, and they were hard conversations sometimes, but I think that it didn't go unseen. It went where we had to have those conversations. And my sister is my space. What she gifted me is laughter. The minute I'm with her, we laugh.
Mm.
My brother, we talk about money. He's an entrepreneur also, and I think that it's a pretty amazing relationship, because not everybody can talk about money,
Mhm.
and that's something that we have, that we'll talk about big dreams in business, and challenges that we're having, and not hold back the risk and the value of the experiences we're going through. And that's been a treasured relationship that we have too. So my family is my true gift, the foundation, and having two little boys, that was one of my best gifts. Just knowing I changed the way I looked at the world when I became a mom. So
What was that biggest shift for you, would you say, once you became a mom?
I think in that transition, living honestly, living your truth, there's sometimes like that people please, serving and giving others, to choosing yourself and being happy. And you look at those joyful moments with those little playful eyes, and you just say, I want to choose that playful joy. I want to be honest about how I feel and what I need, and experience that, instead of give all of me to everyone else. So as much as it was a tough learning curve,
Mhm.
it made me disrupt a few things in my life to go after that truth. And that was one of the better lessons that I could have received at an early on stage of my life, I believe. Being in my mid 30s, I think it's a high value to live your truth and honor your joy and go after what makes you happy.
I mean, it's more, I would say it's more difficult, and we'll see what your thoughts are, but I think sometimes it's more difficult. It's more work, right? I mean, it's easy to give in. It's easy to people please.
Yeah.
It's easy to try and accommodate everybody, but it's a lot more work to really stand up for what you believe and live authentically, live truthfully, and like sort of like a soul-centered life, right? Where sometimes I think it can be perceived as being selfish. And I don't believe that, but I think it can be perceived from that perspective, because it's about you. But if you're not yourself, then what, right?
Yeah. I just think we're evolving to a world where coasting is no longer accepted. Like, there's no power in the coasting, right?
Mhm.
We either want to be on a high or in a low, and climbing back up, like this this connection and acceptance of the roller coaster ride that life is,
Mhm.
makes us normalized. We actually don't need to be always here or always anywhere. This is just our journey, and there is no rules to this ride. And it just kind of gives this sense of freedom to the uncertainty that life is.
I mean, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I mean, it is absolutely a roller coaster. And one of the examples that I use with people is, if you think of, the when you have, well, let's say let's take a ball and then a string, so it's on a plumb line, right? And I mean, let's go back to your physics. So we're gonna take it way back to high school, right? But as far as you pull it to one side and let it go, how far does it go to the other side? Right? So it's equal and opposite. And it's no different than us, right? Is that we, as much as you go into the bad stuff, we'll call it, right? Once you let that go, you go equal and opposite to the good stuff. And that you need that contrast. You need that's living life. And therein lies all the experience.
So true. Yeah.
And I think that's, sort of what I'm listening to you is that's what I'm hearing. You also, you're embracing that, but you're also using that to also guide that wisdom to guide your kids. You're using that wisdom to guide your teams and your students and everyone else around you.
Accepting the playground for what it is, and inviting in that adventure. It just feels real. It feels like we can all do it, and it's attainable. It's not intimidating.
Attainable, not intimidating. I love it. So, okay, here we go. Here's the next question on the Better the Pond Pondcast, Candice. So, what are you doing right now to better the pond? And more importantly, why are you doing it?
There's, I think relieving myself from the responsibility of being behind the chair still one day a week. It took me years to finally let go of that chapter because I just loved my clients. But by letting go, I'm able to really follow this new desire to share these tools that I've created through my life planner, through my students, through working with the staff as one-on-one coaching. But now I've evolved to leadership, where I offer custom programs to staffs and teams like nurses or any kind of formed groups who want to connect in a new way of healing journeys and place of feeling seen fully in their workspace, because we spend so much time with people we work with. And so processing those conversations and humanizing the work environment and connecting through deeper means, and also having tools that help you be a higher professional, go after those real connections that you have, and by routine and planning and rituals that are healthy for your whole team. So that's something that is continuous, as working with teams and working with the presentations that I'm doing, continuing to just believe in these desires that I have coming through, that this is my path, this is my journey to share. And it's not always easy to share your pain, your hardest pains of your life. And you have these roles in the community where you have a lot of responsibility, but then you're sharing about your trauma, and meanwhile the next day I'm in the classroom with my students. And so it's really vulnerable to share all of me. Mm-hmm. But I believe in the message. I believe that's not about me. It's actually about the story that empowers people to honor their own journey. And I think that will create more healing. There's a lot of mental health challenges happening where people they get into this dark hole and they don't know how to climb out. And I've experienced the hole. I understand the efforts it takes to climb out. Mm-hmm. So I think that's how I'm committing daily, is by sharing the tools of helping others climb out of where they don't want to be, or relighting fires of belief that they can attain these big, wild, crazy dreams that's in this place of dormancy because they just can't know where to start, right? Mm. And their personality isn't a 4-year business degree. Their personality is, oh no, I just want to start selling and doing it tomorrow. So it's helping those personalities come to life, and by sharing myself owning mine.
I kind of, what came to mind when you were talking about that is that, and especially with, and I agree with you with the whole, with mental health issues, whatnot, and especially now, I mean, we're seeing more and more of it, unfortunately. But, I believe that everybody has a flame inside of them, and I don't believe it ever goes out, right? And I think you're the person that comes along in someone's life and just gently fans that flame long enough that that you actually really get it lit, and then let them carry the torch from there.
Yeah, I call it planting seeds because I remember from when my parents did that, right?
Mhm.
They didn't make me do anything. They just planted the seeds and allowed me to learn to water them. And
Right.
it's it's a very important skill to not need the external and just believe what's internal.
And you had spoke earlier too about helping with Sophia House, and are you still actively engaged with them? And what else are you doing to better the pond?
I've worked a lot with the YWCA, so Walk a Mile in Her Shoes is something we commit to as a team each year. I'm looking to do presentations in 2021 with them and using our tools to help the healing journey of those women that they're helping. And a real big dream of mine is actually working with those who've experienced brain injuries and have had to review how they live life. It's those day-to-day tasks that are maybe invisible to others. You can't see the disability, but they deal with disability daily. I think there is a big stigma around that of not talking about it. As
Hmm.
I know, I even kind of hold back the daily challenges I have from my brain injury. And so I want to continue to evolve the audiences I get in front of. And I think by creating more freedom as an entrepreneur and utilizing my teams and the way of structured entrepreneurship, I believe I keep building playgrounds and diversifying. I don't have like a portfolio that's kind of reoccurring. It's kind of all over the map, which is exactly how I want it.
Well, because it's exactly who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a another guest on my podcast, and if you ever want to go back and listen to it, it's with a gentleman by the name of Edward Fitzgerald, and he was a producer, co-producer on a movie that went out called Dreamer. And Edward, he was a sailor, and when he was younger, and he got hit, and they had a sail came by and hit him in the head, and he had acquired a brain injury, and it was a great story just to see how he took that and then and leveraged it, and how he had to teach himself new things, but he grew and developed from that, right? It was a great story. So if you ever want to listen to it, it was remarkable to be able to have him as a guest, and it was really inspiring.
I think that's most important about the people holding on to the stories as pain,
Hmm.
to experience resilience and turn that pain into the power and strength that it can really be. I do believe that support is needed along that way, and support systems aren't always there for certain people.
Hmm.
And I had that. So until I experienced working with those that didn't have a support system and I was that support system, I realized that those are the reasons our programming in our community is so important. There's many people that just don't have support,
Yes.
and they need those programs. We have to continue to contribute as a community to ensure that equalism is out there.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly.
Mm-hmm.
So now here's the next question there, Candice, right? So you are the wise sage on the pond. You have your crystal ball, right? You're going to look into the future. We know that you're future based already about you, right? But um, what do you dream about? And just I want you to paint me a picture of what is your golden pond? What does the future look like?
You know, I I just want to invest in people and ideas. I see myself as an investor of continuing growth in our communities and the different things we bring in. I love being a founder or connected to something that has not existed. So, and diverse. I really appreciate diversity in what a portfolio looks like. So I haven't gone a tech venture yet. So I
Mhm.
definitely see a tech venture. I did throughout COVID put together one for the cultivator that's here in the city. So that was really fun. I learned a ton about myself. Uh, But also it's just about creating memorable experiences and ensuring that the things that I'm investing in are bringing more experiences and memorable journeys to our community. So investor of people and things. I think it's an important factor that we come together as a community and collaborate and share our vision and ideas, and that we don't stand out there alone thinking, we're going to have it all or get it all figured out. The more and more I expand my net worth of growth of people, ones that challenge me, that have done wild things. Like I just recently met someone too that is like mind blowing when you start to see different levels of wealth and the level of giving that can come from that space. So when people are challenging you to rise, I just love that experience. I think that there's a lot more opportunity that could come here into our city, and I really want to be a part of continuing to birth new ideas and experiences for our community.
So do you think, as the more people that you bring together, or the more you collaborate, the more growth that can occur. So, as you put your foot forward and trying to lead the way with that, do you see in our city of Regina just being a better place because of that?
Yes, I mean, my shareholder, Shirley, she's been the first person I ever hired 15 years ago.
Mm.
And when she became a shareholder, our strength just got greater. She was going to leave and go open her own salon. And so I fought for that friendship. I fought for that relationship and said, no, we can be better together. And we've proven that. We have an incredibly successful salon and a successful leadership team. And I believe that that's what gave me the strength to understand that model as I experienced a successful way with it. Same with Saskatchewan Fashion Week. It wasn't about the three founders. It was about the community contribution, the sponsors, the designers that would have never had that space and publicity on that runway had we not built a program like this. And without each other, the artists, the leader managers, the entrepreneurs, the visionaries, we can't build these things. We need each other. And there's so much power in that. So collaboration is the way. Those fighting it are just going to have that, that lonely at the top feel.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be collaboration, and that is the only way I see future. My team is the teachers that work with our students. Like I couldn't do what I do today. I couldn't create the visions and the experiences in the school had those teachers not be taking care of the classroom environment and the daily tasks,
Mm-hmm.
So I really believe that in order to build great things, you have to own where your strength is and have a bunch of people around you owning their strengths too.
Yeah, absolutely. That was extremely well said. So, and here's a question I'm going to ask. It would just sort of popped up in my head as we're going to be wrapping this up. But now we're going through, of course, with the pandemic going on, and of course in Regina here, I mean, basically things are on lockdown, and it's been very stressful. So, because you have this just an amazing personality, you just have this spark to you. What words of advice or what words of wisdom do you have for right now in our Christmas season as we're going through this whole crazy transition of COVID and everything?
I would just say stay curious. Stay curious, be adventurous, find the play, find the joy, and create your happiness.
Create your happiness. So, Candice, I want to thank you ever so much for your time today. I mean, there was just loads of wisdom. There was loads of information that I took from today. I grew from just listening to you today. So, and I love your story. It's fantastic. So, if anyone wants to find you, where can we find you? And this is your opportunity to also plug your My Life Planner as well. So, where do we find you, Candice?
Well, the styleacademy.ca, that's our website for Style Academy, where we launched our leadership program that actually includes My Life Planner tools, where my worlds all collide, which feels amazing. And Sheer Escape Salon is where my wonderful team can take care of all your needs here in Regina. It's been an incredible foundational experience to have that business as a massive part of who I am still today. and mylifeplanner.ca. We buy online, or there's also multiple retailers that are continuing to grow throughout our province now, lots of small towns too. And just, get that gift for yourself. Find those connections daily with you. And I really believe that life is a gift, and we all have that gift.
And I agree with you. And so what a great opportunity for people to go to. So can you give me some local retailers here just in Regina? Because where can they go to find your My Life Planner?
There's Paper Umbrella. There's the Painted Parasol in Lumsden. There's Lux Medi Spa in Esterhazy. We're at Sheer Escape Salon, of course, and the Style Academy has the most inventory right now because they are the only ones with our expedited shipment of the flow collections. Hence, COVID delayed a few things. And there's quite a few other smaller boutique retailers like Slade Aesthetic Lounge and big supporters of my salon.
So the multiple places to get My Life Planner just before Christmas. I won't get this. Unfortunately, I won't have this edited out before Christmas so people can go shopping for them. But we're still going to support it. I think it's really important to have these kind of tools to help with personal growth. I think they're invaluable.
Yeah, I use it with my mom. I love seeing her as a retired woman, just connecting to herself through continuing to challenge herself to live life. And it's not, we fight to get to that retirement space. We want to get there. So life is just beginning at retirement, right? But
Right.
in the new set of a place. So I don't feel like there's a boundary and barrier to how you plan visioning and clarity and connection for
Well,
your life.
I will definitely pick up one for myself because I'm all about growth and I'm all about trying to uh, just keep always just consistently moving forward and redeveloping and redesigning and growing and learning, and that's who I am. So I'm going to use that tool of yours, and then I'll give you some feedback and see, and then we can check in with each other down the road and do this again.
Yeah, I would love to see you color code which area of the assessment would be what types of personalities in the tools.
Oh.
So this is where the strategy Candice comes in. Like, I'm very curious, right? I'm like, so you do the research and understand the tools and can say them at the tip of your tongue.
Yeah.
Whereas I just get these desires from life experience and put them into a tool.
Mm-hmm.
But I would love your beautiful analytical brain with all this knowledge to color code what personalities would thrive here and which ones would struggle here. Because I think it's a big part of when you're teaching the tool and connecting with others in different personalities, in different teams, that you need to understand how to connect and share.
Well, this for the two of us could be an adventure.
See, playgrounds.
Playgrounds.
A lot of fun.
We'll talk. We're gonna definitely talk. That you just gave me an idea. So on the social media platform, where do we go find you, Candice? Is there one place that you hang out in, or?
Well, Candy Fiessel, CandyFiessel. That is me, personal world with my boys and all three businesses, and then Style Academy YQR, mylifeplanner.ca, and Sheer Escape Salon.
And then what about on, is there one sort of social platform you hang out? Do you hang out on LinkedIn? Do you hang out in Instagram or
I have it all. I have it all. You can find me easily.
Okay.
It's more or less the managing of the notifications of which platform do I go to first today. All I can say is thank goodness for team.
Yes.
There's a lot of beautiful people that support the visions of all three companies daily, and we're very blessed to have a connected team.
Excellent. So there's lots of places to find you. That is fantastic. So there you have it, folks. We had a great time here today with Candice Fiessel. This is Warren Barry flocking off to take you beyond the pond to better the pond, because we're better together. Thank you ever so much, Candice.
Like, oh yeah, it's audio too. Thank you.